Many of us have big goals and big dreams, but too many of us do not have a game plan, do not have daily and weekly disciplines that we are following in order to accomplish those goals and realize those dreams. My guest today, Alton Grose, is someone who is a practitioner of chopping down your big, hairy, audacious goals into daily and hourly and weekly tasks that you can do to make sure that you are on track to be, do, and have whatever it is that you want. We had a lot of fun today going into some different topics with Alton. This guy is a practitioner. He's a positive guy that, you can't help but like and kind of vibe with. So make sure you guys take some notes. I want to give you a teaser here. I want you to extract just one thing out of this entire conversation that you are going to implement today. Let's go. What's going on, Alton? How are you doing today? You're on the road, huh?
Yeah, man, I'm doing good. I'm down here in Charlotte, running with the team down here, building, growing, and trying to make some stuff happen. So we're just full speed down here.
Full speed. All right. Tell us about yourself, your regal, your background, whatever you want to share to kind of, frame up this conversation. We'll be talking about daily disciplines among a sales team, among any sort of leader, which is something that you embody. So, but yeah, first of all, give us a little bit of a background and who you are.
I've been in the industry coming up on about 8 years. Worked for a small time company when I first got in, and then started to kind of grow from there and got linked up with Perimeter Roofing back 2017, 2018, Ray and Todd and all those guys. Got linked with them and just rocked and rolled in the industry for a little while. And then, the typical sales guy, right? That can run his own thing. He can go make all this money. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that was me, right? Yeah, give it to me. Let's go. So I hop out. I start my own operation that lasted about coming up on like 3 years. Decent volume, decent amount of sales guys, but I battled because I was like me, more me, and just all of me. And I had to be everywhere. And it got to the point where I'm like, I don't think I can do everything. I can, but I physically can't, if that makes sense. So you start putting people in play thinking it's going to make sense. And then you realize, wait, I'm still responsible for all these people. I still have to talk and pay and be and all this. So the liabilities of all that, I'm like, you know what? I can just go back to sales. I can just make something else, So that's kind of where I decided to get back into it from the sales side, not necessarily ownership side, and just grow my own pipeline, my own situation. Went down to Florida, worked that storm for a little bit, Hurricane Irma when that came through, and did really well there. And that was when I got linked back around with Perimeter, and they had reached out and they said, hey, we've joined forces with private equity, and we've actually started purchasing other roofing companies to scale and grow. And we've got this opportunity to make something happen and run some locations. And I'm like, well, let's do it. I mean, numbers are the numbers, right? But I mean, we're talking private equity. Why would we not? It's the pockets seem to be deep, right? We jump back on over there, and that's what brought me up to Kentucky. I've been working up there for the last 4 to 6 months. I scaled that location. And then now as the weather has started to turn, I've shifted back down to Charlotte to scale this location. So we just hit the ground here first week. I think we had 6 canvassers, 5 inspectors, pumped out 10 or 15 claims in 3 or 4 days into a fresh new market. We did have a recent storm, obviously, just a couple nights ago. So the guys are out right now. I think we got 6 or 7. And of course, you're bringing bodies in. People hear these numbers, they might think they're low numbers, and that's fine. But the thought process is here is we're building in a location we've never been. We drove in here. We drove in here and saw roofs and said, hey, here we are. We're ready. So with that being said, it makes sense when you're starting to grow and scale. You got to start from somewhere. So that's kind of where we're at now. And, the goal is obviously to keep growing and to scale organically within the organization. So my focus is building out these locations, putting people in play, leaders that we've been grooming and building over, a scale of just 5, 6, 7 years, of all these $1 million producers that are I call them cultivated studs. They've developed a stud aspect in this culture that we've built. And now we're putting them in play, and we just have the opportunity to move them in different businesses if we need to. So that's really cool to be a part of. And like I said, my focus is that, scaling and growing. And then I've recently kind of picked up on this continued education thing. And I'm like, you know what? I got a lot of information. People like talking to me. I can stand in front of a crowd and in front of a room, and I can get out in the field and hang on the side of my own truck while one of the guys drives it. You know what I mean? And we'll get all the roofs. So that's just the kind of like speed that I bring. So with all of this, I've been super excited to keep growing and see what happens in all the fields. And then obviously getting my name out there more on social media. I've started doing more roofing TikToks and different videos on top of my fitness lifestyle that I have as well. So there's just a lot of discipline there that's all combined into roofing. And a lot of people don't realize that. And I think that's where like the missing piece comes with all these owners. I fell victim to it too. When I ran my business for a little while, I got to the point where I was sitting in my office, collecting some money, paying some bills. And I started looking at it, and it was all B activity. In my opinion, B activity is bullshit. It's not A activity. A activity is money-making activity. So for me, it's like now when I hear that, I think about that, I'm like, all right, you think about these reps, you think about, sales managers, what piece are they lacking in all of this roofing space? You can teach them the numbers, you can teach them how to knock the doors, you can teach all this other stuff. They're lacking the discipline in life. They're lacking schedule. You're bringing 9-to-5s to an opportunity that says, here, good luck, go get a roof. And that's all people preach is go get a roof. So in my opinion, I think if you developed a salesperson more into a staff person without so much doing it because they're 1099, honestly, you're not telling them where they need to be, but create structure in their life. All my guys, we create structure in their life, their goals, the gym, what they eat. If that's the stuff they want to fix, we help them. No one's suing us for that. You know what I mean? No one's going to tell us just because we told them what food was healthier for them. We're not going to get in trouble for that. So I think we have to dive there first if we have those people that come to us. Of course, you can't force that life on somebody. But if a guy comes to you and he's like, bro, you wear an XL too? Yeah, I wear an XL. Why does your XL look different? Because my stomach doesn't stretch mine. Yours does. There's a difference. So when those people come to you and they realize they start to pick up on the culture of where they want to be, they get dialed in so quickly. And that's the real part of the industry. So I feel like a lot of owners are missing that piece of having someone like me, first of all, who's going to bring all that together, but also just pushing it as a whole and developing that culture as a whole. I look at owners across the industry, and every one of them, I mean, not every one, I see a good bit of them are out of shape, and it's the parties, the drinking, the whatever. I call it the get money gut. Right? You're making money. Yeah. You're eating good. I was there. Trust me. I was an owner. I was sitting eating good. I was fine. But I was a little thicker, because of it. Yeah. So I think that life, if that could be adjusted a little more and that healthier fitness, daily discipline, daily just checking the system, all that stuff could dial so much in a lot better. And that's me. That's what I want to preach. And that's really what Perimeter and that whole culture of what we're doing over here is built off of.
Yeah. I can see that. Like, I can see that from your content, which is awesome, by the way. I can see that from Zach's content, from Raymond's content. It starts at the top, set that standard, being the example of what is the standard on the team.
That's it.
I saw that with me recently, man. We were at a conference, the Roofing Process Conference in December, and we were doing a breakout session. I was presenting, and I got the video content back from our guy, John, and I'm like, damn, like, I am thick. Like, I'm not going to put those reels out. Maybe I should, but I'm like, that's not who I want to be. And like seeing that single, like that thumbnail of that video, of that reel, that was like enough for me to be like, I gotta lose weight. Like that's like, I didn't realize I looked like that, and that's not like what we want to portray. So like that brand that's super important. Yeah.
It's huge, man. And you walk into a room, I mean, you see like Andy Elliott, some of these guys all over social media, they preach it, right? They preach left and right. Like you got to look, the only people that work for Andy have six packs, like he has a certain standard. It doesn't have to be that extreme. That's not the level that I think we're at. But let's understand this. You're bringing people into an industry that they can make money like no other industry with no cap. And on top of that, they need no training and no experience. You can teach them the way. Who says, hey, come make six figures in 4 to 6 months and I'll teach you everything. Just Just come hang out.
Yeah.
You'll have to grind and hustle. But that's not anywhere. So I think you can attack this position or this sales rep or this role you're trying to create and keep long term a different way. And you'll have so much more momentum on keeping that person, structuring that person. You won't allow any bad habits, but it starts at the top, 100%.
And for me, I always want to clarify, like, for me, it's not so much, well, a little bit about looks and how you look, but more of it's about, like, man, if you're overweight, like you said, Alton, like, you lack the discipline that you expect from others.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of your daily habits? I love to nerd out about this. It's a construction podcast, but like, obviously it's all personal development when we boil down to it. What are some of your daily disciplines?
Yeah. So with me, like, obviously hygiene, that stuff's like number one, like all across the board. But also when it comes to like intake's very important. And a lot of people miss that because they're so hooked on social media, the phone, go, and don't realize intake's very important. Fluid intake and, food intake. So I'm constantly like drinking a lot of water. I'm a gallon of water. You'll always see me. I got at least one, and I'll have at least two at all times.
Now you need one to go pee in after all that water.
Yeah, but when you're on the go, dude, there's a gas station on every corner. So I'm good,
I got my water tracking app right here. Oh, that's 72 for the day.
Nice.
Yeah.
So water is definitely like a main source for me. I don't drink. I socially drink if I have to, but water is a big source for me, and coffee here and there. Outside of that, food, like I get all my breakfasts in. I get my breakfasts, my multiple meals throughout the day, my dinners. I eat consistently, nonstop. And I always preach to people that are trying to gain weight or put on muscle. I was like, look, if you eat when you're hungry, you're already too late. You got to eat. You got to overeat. You want to be somewhere. You got to make the body be where it wants to be, and you got to push it. So for me, I really dial in on my nutrition and dieting, and really, like, I know my numbers when it comes to intake for calories and fats and proteins. I know it very, very well because I've just studied my body a lot. So Intake's very important, like very, very important. And then I get in at least some type of daily exercise, stretch for an hour, 2 hours a day, mostly bodybuilding style. That's my main source of working out or style of working out. Throughout the day, I try to read, I try to check in on the stock and do certain things just to keep me kind of in the loop of what's going on in the world. I don't watch TV, I don't watch the news. So I try to stay out of that stuff. And sometimes I'll pull up a news article or whatever just to see what's going on around the country, especially in roofing when there's stuff going on in other states. I'm always kind of curious what happened or what it was. I think a lot of people take that to run with it in negativity, and I take it with run with it in positivity because I'm like, man, this is stuff that I want to know and topics to be able to talk about and sound educated in the roofing industry. That learning and knowing what's going on is huge. And that's what I want to push with this continued education. Continued education is I really want to like just teach as much as I can and help a lot of the guys understand. But back to daily habits, I'll go off on a tangent. I'm a talker, man. I love to talk.
That's why I love having guests on my show. I don't have to do. I can just sit back and hit record and
hit record.
People have heard enough about me.
Right. Yeah. A buddy of mine, he was like, you're gonna do a podcast in your truck. I'm like, well, it's 40 minutes back to the corporate house. It's 30 minutes to the Airbnb. I'm just gonna sit here. I mean, I might as well. And
time is money.
Time is money, man. I live my life off inconvenience and convenience, right? So like the thought process of me pulling into a Starbucks and sitting there and doing this and someone interrupting me and there being other people, I couldn't do it. So I'm like, conveniently, I'll just sit in my truck. I got plenty of water and we'll just make it work.
Yeah. You got a good connection, which is great. Yeah. Your workout, your intake. I agree. Tim Ferriss taught me years ago, not personally, but through his books, about the information diet, right? So just like we have a diet for food and drinks, whatever, we have to have an information diet and be aware of what we are consuming. And that is completely up to us, right? If I'm going to sit here and complain about my Twitter feed or complain about my Facebook feed that there's too much negativity and drama in it, well, guess what? It's my freaking feed. I can get rid of those people. I can hide those people. Like, it's up to me to take ownership over that. So the information diet is huge.
And tracking. I do a lot of tracking throughout the day of my stuff. And that's important too for daily intake, daily discipline. And it all comes over to work too, and tracking your food, tracking your intake. And if you can dial that stuff in, a lot of it's not so much like, yeah, there's fast food. There's stuff that's going to essentially make you, overweight. But I go and eat out. I eat at public places. I keep my body fat between 10 and 11% consistently now. and I still eat healthy. I eat healthy when I go out. You can figure it out. Most places have chicken and rice and they have some type of vegetable. Like you can figure it out. So it's a lot of times though, it's not what we eat, it's how much we eat, and it's the portion control thought process. People don't realize the Chipotle bowl is 2 meals, and a lot of people smash it in one. And it's supposed to be calorie-wise broken up into 2 meals. Dude, I'm the same way. I'll smash 2 back to back, but it's one of those things. Like you can't do that if you're going to try to be a certain whatever. But that's it's intake. It's how much, how much actually did you take in?
Yeah. The fittest I ever was, and I'm about to do it in probably a month. I'll start back up again. Is counting the macros, which obviously you're talking about, like using MyFitnessPal as a popular app. Once you start plugging things into that app, you're like, oh wow, I know. It's just like this new level of awareness. It's like seeing color for the first time after living in black and white. You're like, oh wow, I had no idea. And then like you go to restaurants and you're like, this is like disgusting. It's insane how big the American portion sizes are. But that awareness of tracking that, like that was the fittest I ever was, what was that summer, whatever it was. But when I was tracking and I was dialed in, it's awesome.
It's crazy. Yeah, it is. I start my cut. I've been on a little month and a half bulk. I was trying to get to like 240, 244. And I just broke like 242. So trying to get to like 244, 245. And then I'll shred back down like starting in February, probably. That's the favorite part. I love shredding back down when you're getting ready for the summer because it's cheaper. You don't have to eat as much. You can save some money.
Chicken and rice. As I translate, what are some of your habits, your daily disciplines for business, for sales, for what you do professionally?
Yeah. So my role now is more of a training and like recruiting role these last couple weeks and month. I'm taking that on more. And then obviously sales is still a part of that. And then sales was, kind of been this whole time of my career, and just, I've done a lot of both. But when it comes to like sales and the actual daily disciplines, a lot of it comes down to the software and the CRM. And I think that a lot of people fall short in that because they just check it when they can, or they check the notifications at a certain time, multiple days out, or they have another job and this gets pushed to the side. And there's just a lack there that I feel for reps and for actually leadership pushing the envelope on teaching them how to manage your system and actually check it daily. So for me, like some of my disciplines, like I check the system every morning as soon as I get up. It's one of the first things I do, like after I go to the bathroom. And it's a funny story. I tell people I sit on the toilet every morning. I know I got about 13 minutes before my right butt cheek goes numb. And that's how much time I have in the system. And then I move on to the next thing. And I put blocks in throughout my schedule to know when I need to hit the system every day. Every day. Now mine's on a management level, so my blocks are a lot more, and they're deeper because some of them are administration work, some of them are recruiting work, or just my social media time, because I have to break my social media time. I'm filming all day, but I edit and post all throughout the day, whether I'm in roofing, fitness, whatever. And I'm also recruiting at the same time because my platform's like a big recruiting space. A lot of guys want to be like me. So that's like the daily thing, is checking the system for sure. And then obviously there's like daily task and weekly task of trying to find those clients, scouting, putting yourself out there on certain days. And that's the part there that is like not dialed in at all in the roofing industry. Because I talk to so many guys and I have so much experience in this, and I try not to sound like cocky, because there's a fine line between cocky and confidence. And I try not to like cross it. But I talk to so many reps, so many people's reps at all these companies all around the country call me or message me on Instagram to ask me and talk to me about social media, but also to talk to me about roofing. And I get to hear the pains and I hear the things that go on with all these companies from a rep level, because they don't see me as the owner of this big business, right? I'm the face that comes in, and the fitness guy, and he's got tattoos, and he's climbing, he's on TikTok. He's definitely not an older guy, like they put me in that space. So they open up to me like no other. And all they talk about is the lack of schedule. I don't really know what to do. I think we're going out in a couple days. Oh, we might do this. I'm like, what? I was like, my team has been here a week and a half. They have a whole notes itinerary every day. We do shit. And then we go to lunch, and then I pay for dinner, and then Topgolf on this day. But we're busting doors this many hours every week to grow this market. So I see something like that. I'm like, or I hear that from these reps and I'm like, owners and leaders that are in this industry aren't prioritizing more of a schedule-based, dialed in. How do I make this guy successful by teaching him to look at his calendar, put these blocks in, forcing him to sit down and do this stuff, and then calling him on one of his blocks because you share a calendar. You're like, hey, I saw your 2 blocks. You already had your 2 blocks. What'd you get accomplished? And if he's got good feedback, you already know in the system, was he active or not? Did he, You know what I mean? So you can learn and keep moving and put these things out there. So that's really, really important to me, is checking the system, having it ironed out throughout the day. And then as far as scouting and making sure that I'm breaking up the week and putting things my scouting's different than it used to be. My scouting in sales is I'm looking for the golf courses. I'm going to find the big hotels, who has damage, who this, all around the area I'm working. That was my scouting. My new scouting now is other companies and competition to keep myself out of their way, but also growth. Who's hurting? I'm watching all the guys on social media on these pages that are asking for help and their leaders are not helping them. So I'm not going to innocently stand by and not help. So I'm constantly not trying to be a thief in the industry, Right. I'm here to provide so much information. And if I vibe with one of your people and the information is different, then, you got to step up. I'm out here trying to level up everybody, not just the reps, owners and leaders got to level up too. So the daily stuff is very important. And those disciplines for me are as I listed, and one other one I think would just be overall appearance and personal health. I rock a polo on days that are necessity for it, which is usually every day. And then throughout the day, I wear certain clothes, certain jackets, depending on the vibe of what I'm going to do or who I'm going to meet. And I think that needs to be understood too. This isn't a fix all jeans and a polo kind of industry. You go to a hotel. When I go scout hotels, I'm in a jacket, I'm in a suit. I walk in and you're like, well, this guy's coming to look at our roof or talk us about a roof. I'm not climbing on it today, but I will. But today we're here to talk about business. And I think if you transition that a lot more and gave these new reps and these leaders more insight to understand, we need to look a little better in certain times and schedule this stuff out and, not just be roofers. That term of roofers, I don't really like it. When I hear you're a roofer, I'm like, no, I'm actually I'm a business professional. I'm a professional in the industry of some sort. I don't even like the salesman term sometimes. It just, sometimes it's a little, No,
that's huge. I see a lot of people in the industry. They look disheveled and come on, some of our clients too, I need to get the balls to maybe tell them, you probably do better, if you just kind of looked a little bit more, not buttoned up, but just, more put together. And sometimes I'm surprised when I hear these guys wait, you sold 2 million last year? And in my head, I'm like, man, wow, okay, great. You must, I don't know. They must have some kind of secret sauce there.
Yeah. So I think the same thing because I get some reps that come to me. I have a guy, he works more south or he lives more south in the country. He's got a nice Southern drawl. This guy's just Southern all through. And he came on and, he's the first day he's in my truck, he's got just a big old dip in and he's spitting one of the cups. And I said, we're not going to do that. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, not in my truck. You want to get in yours and follow me? That's fine. But I just don't do that in my truck. I'm good. And then I learned him more and we moved forward and more. And what he does and how he works for him and it works in his area and he'll produce what he produces. So that was something I had to understand too. I was like, wait, I'm clean cut. I know I can produce $1 million to 2 million, 3 million a year easily, consistently the way I look, but I'm different. So when you think about somebody in that aspect, I have to kind of give them a benefit of the doubt. So I don't really I don't judge right away, but I'm also all right, it works for you and your clientele's different than mine. So I get it. But at the same time, I'm like, is it right?
AG has been able to have a lot of success in a large part because he's been building this brand. He puts out content every day on his Instagram, on social media, and he attracts these what he calls studs that he molds into winners by following these daily disciplines. Now, it's no secret that social media is a powerful tool to be able to build that magnetic brand that attracts those like-minded people, but there's a lot of different parts that go into that. So if you want to build that brand for yourself and or your company to be that magnet for not only sales reps and team members, but for customers and clients and different opportunities. You're not sure how to do that, I invite you to reach out to us at contractordynamics.com. Schedule a call with us. We'll get you some clarity on your marketing. What we do all day, every day at CD is we train roofing companies on how to build and run their own marketing so that they can take control over their brand. They can take control over their growth. They can take control over their futures. And brand and marketing is an extremely powerful way to do that, just like our guest AG has been able to do. So if you want some game plan, you want some guidance on how to do that, reach out to us at contractordynamics.com or smash the link below this video or podcast. The thing you said, AG, about like the when you see like sales reps reaching out to you looking for advice, that like continues to blow my mind when I see that in like the Facebook groups in the industry. Hey, I just started working for this company. You guys have any tips on like how to sell or what to do? And I'm like, leave that company that you just started working for, because obviously there's zero leadership, there's zero training. Like, I don't know if that happens in other industries. It just continues to like blow my mind. Like, I would be embarrassed if there is someone that I hired that was out there in a Facebook group being like, yeah, I just got hired by Joe in Contractor Dynamics, and someone like telling me, give me some tips on how to do my job. I would be so like that just would not happen.
Yeah. So, and I get that too. And I'm a big devil's advocate kind of guy, right? Like, I agree. I know something makes sense, but I also think this way too. Cause I try to, my personality, who I am, is a very around the box investigator, right? So when I hear that, I see something like that, I'm like, yeah, like those guys reaching out, they're lacking that ability, right? Those trainings, those continuing education, they're lacking. They reach out on social media, but then I think about my guys at my company, and a lot of us tell our newer reps to get on these pages to learn. Okay. And when we say learn, we say learn what's being talked about, a discontinued shingle, an exposed strip, whatever the case may be. Learn that stuff so you can pick up on kind of what happened and read through the comments. Well, then the guys get on there and start asking the questions and reaching out and DMing certain people when their personalities collapse and they see that, oh, wow, I could probably vibe with that guy. He responded to a couple of my things, and then it becomes a message. So I'm on all the pages and I don't comment and I don't like anything. And I watch from the outside and I look at it's insane, right? So I'm right there with you. I see that and I'm like, why are all these literally, if you wanted to recruit some roofers, just go on the page. Go on the page. I have a page actually coming. I'm going to probably drop it either today or tomorrow. I don't know if I'll get any traction, but it's called Rookie Year. And literally it's only a page for first year roofers. That's it. And that page is going to have tons of videos, tons of content from me personally, weekly, daily, just tons and tons of stuff that's going to expose the industry on a very good level, and then the rough, tough level, and show these reps like what $1 million producer looks like, what a $200,000 a year producer looks like, what a $500,000 a year, you know what I mean? So we're going to expose this and kind of show these reps, and you can't get in the group without proof that you were our first. So I want a screenshot of your 1099 that you just signed with the date on it. You know what I mean? That's how exclusive this little group is going to be. And all these people that keep reaching, and you'll get graduated out of the group. When I feel you've learned or educated, I'll push you out and say, hey, look, man, I feel like you're top notch in here. And then that's my recruiting. Like, I can put these people and plug them in certain places around other companies. You know, just, I think we need to build more, I call them cultivated studs. It's what we need more of in this industry. Cultivated studs. It's guys that are similar to me that can go in and build an entire culture at somewhere, not just pump out a bunch of numbers. Like, come in here and build something that's going to last.
Love that. Love that. I want to touch on your emphasis on the calendar, man. Like, it sounds so boring. It sounds lame, right? Like, no, I'm just going to gunslinger going out there. Dude, I live and die in a calendar. And like, if it's not a calendar, it's not happening. And you talked about B activity, talked about A activity earlier, man. When things have been like, you know, we've been in business 11 years. Like, when there's a slow period in sales, like we're not generating the appointments and sales that we want. What I do is I look at like, what income generating activity do we have in the calendar? When I was selling, it was me. I could look back at my calendar and say, all right, sales are slow in September. Let me look at my calendar in June, July. Did I have that income generating activity in the calendar? And did I hold my ass accountable to actually doing that? Right? It's one thing to have in the calendar. We actually obviously got to do that. And 100% of the time, it comes down to that income generating activity or revenue generating activity was not in the calendar. We were not doing that. So like, let's get back to that. And 100% of the time, when you get back to that, guess what? 30, 60 days later, you start seeing those sales, right? We just had that with one of our, we were in a mastermind for contracting company owners. We had a call, let's say Thursday. We had a meeting yesterday. And one of the members comes onto the call and got vulnerable with a group of like 20 contracting company owners. And he's like, hey, I'm in a tight spot right now. Like, I'm getting nervous about being able to stay in business. And he was very self-aware. And he was like, hey, I've been behind the desk. I've been, focused on our long-term vision. They run on EOS. I've been focused on a lot of the processes and systems and getting all that stuff dialed in. And he's like, I kind of picked my head up and I realized that like we have like very little sales coming in, right? And so he's very aware enough to say, I've been focused too much on that long-term, on those B-level activities maybe, and not as much focused on the sales. And so, the advice from the group in our mastermind was like, yeah, like, you know what to do. Just go do it. Like, you got to focus on sales right now. Income generating activity. Put it in your calendar, hold yourself accountable, hold your team accountable, and you'll turn things around like pretty quickly because he's a seasoned pro. He knows what to do,
Right. So a big thing with me in the calendar, I'm about to give you some free game right here, Joseph. This little thought process right here of the calendar and the mental aspect behind it has made me so much money. Okay. So any new reps that are potentially looking at this or watching this video right now, this free tip, this free game I'm about to give has made me so much money and has built so much discipline in my life that it's unreal. So you talk about living by the calendar. Live by the calendar, yes, but live by the calendar mentally. And when I say live by the calendar mentally, put those blocks and those situations in there to make sense to your mental brain. And your mental brain is to see positives, to see negatives. It's to see the things that are going to make you money and the things that won't make you money. So if you transition that thought process more so of what I have to do on my calendar to the positive activity I'm about to do on my calendar, and then the positive color on my calendar, I keep moving and I keep going day by day to continue that positive activity. So on my calendar, it's color coded and I base it off of the colors that are going to make me money. Okay. The colors, the blue colors, the green colors, right? I don't go towards the red too much. I go towards the bright colors, right? I know those are going to make me happy. It's going to push me down the line. So when I'm watching my calendar, if I see all the blues, I know I'm climbing roofs. Okay. When I start getting over and I start seeing the greens, I know I'm going to pick up contracts or I'm going to go pick up checks. And I'm going to go finalize some deals. When I start seeing the reds, I know I got adjuster meetings. It's going to be tough and I'm ready for it. It's a red means, you know what I mean? Like, we're dialed in a little more. So, and then when I start seeing the purples, I know I'm putting builds on. I got roofs going on. And then I see more greens because I'm picking up checks or yellows. It just depends on how you want to color code it. But if you take that calendar and turn it into a mental aspect in your life, you will win every time. And you take that calendar so then you can look back and know your colors aren't lining up with your production. That action you were doing back then is not giving you the results. And people talk about why I can't do this, why I can't do that. Where's your calendar? I'll tell you exactly why you can't do anything because you don't have one or your colors are wrong. So that's me. The calendar, that's how I live and die by it, is based off the colors and putting things in play that make the most sense.
Dude, that's it, man. That's where the impact is made. Whether it's working out, whether it's planning your meals, whether it's selling, whether it's, whatever, that's where the impact is made in any area.
That's it.
Of your family, family times in my calendar every night.
Everything goes in the calendar from your workouts to my eating schedule goes in there sometimes. If I'm really, really trying to dial it in, phone calls, certain recruiting calls that I actually have, I'm starting to get more into the techie space of connecting with people. And I guess you could just say social media, right? But not so much social media, more so these other avenues to take advantage of communication. So like Calendly, I started using that. I have a link now for all of my things, my recruiting calls, my gym workouts. I do some personal training and different types of online training when I can. So I have a little call on there and I advertise, and that's how these reps get a hold of me. And I post all this stuff that we're growing and we're doing this and doing that. And I actually have these calls and then they're linked to my calendar. And I set I set the calls based off the calendar and what's available. So you may get a recruiting link from me and I only have 2 spots that week. You may get it and I only have 1 spot. So it's really cool because I'll send that link out to a couple guys and create a little bit of a different type of communication, because now we transition to almost email, and he has this link and he fills it out. And then if he waits too long and it expires. So I also weed out the guys that are they're just procrastinators. I had one guy, he clicked the link, didn't book the call. 2 days later, he's like, hey man, I forgot to book the call. Can you send me a new link? And I said, yeah, I'll send you a new link. I said, but you missed out on what was the reason? He's like, oh, I thought you were going to call me. I was like, well, you clearly didn't read it, but that's okay. So then I send him the link to book a new call. He's like, yeah, I'll book it right now. He said, I'll book it before the end of the day. So I gave him 24 hours. And then I expired the link, and he texted me. He's like, hey man, link's not working. I said, I know we're not a fit. I appreciate it. Best of luck to you. You know, unfortunately, it's not personal. It's just business. If you want to unfriend me on Facebook, that's fine. I'm still going to like your stuff because it's just business, you know?
Right. Yeah. But, I mean, if people, what is it that saying? People show you their true colors, like believe them, you know? It's true. Yeah, Calendly. I mean, I feel bad now. You and I did schedule this podcast interview via Calendly, which I normally do.
Oh, it's all good. It's all
we're
good.
Just running it, gunning, and but yeah, that's everything for sure. So, what are your inputs as far as like some of the, you know, where do you pick up some of these tidbits, some of this knowledge, some of this personal development? Like, who do you follow? Who pours into you?
Man, I follow, as far as like roofing goes, I do follow some of the more popular, I wouldn't say popular, but the more like just the different types of people in the industry. I feel like these people have so much and they've just scratched the surface. Kimba Garcia is one. I follow her at RKG in Texas. She's got some good content. And I think people don't pay attention to like her stuff. And if you look at the video, if you look at the office setting there, the culture there is just phenomenal. The writing is all over the wall. Literally, the graffiti, the just vibe of their office is really cool. So I follow people like that. I follow those people that are going to inspire me to step outside the box a little bit and keep thinking more. So when it comes to like business and stuff, I mean, I like Andy Elliott. I like a lot of the stuff that he does when he's preaching about running businesses and the different things that can be done. And then I also follow just some of the, I guess you'd say, older motivational guys that produce more books and stuff, not necessarily on the podcasting aspect. So really today's age of podcasters, I don't listen to a lot. I'll be honest. Like I don't mind it. And I'll listen to like personal health type stuff that's going to like, how do I pull myself out of a situation of not responding dramatically? I listen to stuff like that. Like, how do I know if I'm about to walk into a sticky situation with a customer that's got a warranty issue? How do I know to calm my breathing and calm who I am before I walk into that space?
Yeah.
That's the type of stuff I listen to. So these guys that run around and make way more money than me and have way better cars and nicer watches than me, I don't necessarily follow for that lifestyle. They may have their breathing controlled and know very well how to do it, but they're not teaching that. I want my breathing to be controlled so I can handle all the situations and not overwhelm myself. So that's my big take is like, I go after that like mental stuff of me because I know if I'm in roofing forever, like that's great, but I know I'm going to be a human forever. Okay. Yeah. I know I got to like live this life forever. So I want to make sure I do it right and I feel good about it. So I don't have the best answer for that, man. I'll be honest. I just I seek out that mental health of stuff that keep me whole internally so I can keep everybody else whole and I can run this thing like that. That's me.
Yeah. I do a lot of the same. I get it, man. You have a high level of self-awareness. You're very dialed into what you want and your identity. And that's huge. Most people don't know. And I think that's why most people just kind of follow everyone. You know, they just chase all these different rabbits because they don't have that self-identity. They don't know what they want. They don't have a vision. They're not on a mission. And it's just like, you see too much of that. That just holds people back, man. Personally and professionally. So what kind of parting advice would you have for, you know, anyone, whether an owner, whether, you know, a human, let's just say a human who wants to just improve themselves, improve their life. I know we talked about it a lot today. Just kind of like, you know, a finishing nugget to wrap things up.
I think I would really just have to tell everyone or want to tell, like, it's the same stuff I preach on my social media every day is just to get up and try to win. Get up and try to win every day and not sit here and try to win every battle in every situation, but put these wins in your life that are going to result to a big win. I made a post the other day. It was about, I made my bed and I put all caps. Well, I got to win. I made my bed. And I say that because it's like, that's the first win I get every day. As soon as I get out of bed, not only did I got a breath and I was able to see still and hear, I got up and then I made my bed and I did that. That was me, nobody else, me. So that's my first win. So I try to preach to people all the time. Just try to win every day, win at something, and then document it. Tell yourself how many times you won. And that's a big thing with reps. Reps are always like, oh, I didn't get a deal today. I didn't get a deal today. Okay, that's cool. Great. Stop saying it. How many people did you talk to? How many times did you give your business card out? How many times did you open your truck? How many times did you have to go pee? Track these things. This just thought process of knowing your wins and being able to run those up and know that your big wins are you did get a contract signing or you did file a claim. But look, you had 75 wins before you got that one. And that win was probably 100, but you got 75 more. So for me, it's like, I really want everybody just to wake up and win every single day, because if you just do that, when you take an L, it doesn't matter because you got 75 wins. So that's it.
Dude, stack those wishes, baby. I love that. That is such good advice, man. Stack them up every single day. Those are things you control. Making your bed. You don't control if a homeowner signs a contract, but you do control if you can make your bed in the morning. So we have more control than we think over those wins. So, man, I appreciate you being here, Ray G. Where's the best place for someone to connect with you? They want some more of this juice that you're giving us.
Some more juice. So definitely all social media platforms. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and I try to post on all of them different content. So I have like fitness in some aspects, roofing and fitness, and then more like professional on Facebook and stuff. So professional and like life on Facebook. So those are kind of like my avenues. Those are like the main places. My phone number is blasted everywhere. I have had the same number since I was 14 or 15. So anyone can call me. You're more than welcome. I have another number that a lot of people don't have, but outside of that, I can be reached on all platforms and I accept it. And I literally, like, for the last 2 or 3 years, I've told people to reach out. People I didn't even know. I'm like, hey, if you need anything, let me know. Like, and I don't want to take your guys or what do you want to know about? Like, what would you like? What would you want to outside? Because I'm also a tough conversation guy too. I will have the toughest conversation with you. Awesome. I don't mind. If you're not doing something you're supposed to be doing, why would I not tell you? I'm going to tell you. So for me, I'm just like, people can reach out to me anywhere, have any kind of conversation with me. I stay out of the negativity space. So, I read what I read the other day. It said winners don't sit around and talk about people. They sit around and talk about new ideas and what I can do and how I can improve. And that's me. That's my space. You call me and you want to improve, I might ask you, are you looking for advice or are you just venting? And a lot of my boys are like, I'm venting. And then I know just to listen, be quiet, because I'll over talk and I'll tell them everything they want to hear and then some. Yeah. But if they're like, give me some advice, what do you think? I'm like, well, let's start here, let's track back here. So that's me. A lot of people who are in my small circle, they know what they're going to get when they call me. And that's like the realest thing about me, because I got buddies that won't call me when they know they're going to get the real. And then I find out later and they know, they're like, yeah, I didn't even call. I'm like, yeah, I know you didn't call me because I would have told you you're stupid. I would have told you not to buy those tires. I would have told you to put that money somewhere else, sell that truck. There's so many of these conversations I have with my buddies. And I have a couple buddies that they call me for this perspective and literally do it. And it's not even this like power thing that I feel. It's almost like this afterwards. It's like, damn, yeah, bro, you were right. Like, I was able to put that money here with my kid and do this. I'm like, yeah, it just made more sense to me. I don't have a kid, but it sounds right.
Love it. I love your vibes. I love your energy. I appreciate the opportunity to get to know you a little bit more. I'm glad we connected, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Joseph, the pleasure's been all mine, man. This is my first actual, I did a podcast. I did a couple other podcasts, I think, but they were more in person. This is my first digital podcast like this. And I am truly thankful and appreciative. Hopefully you do this again over some other topics or something and, see what happens.
Absolutely, man. We're doing a bunch of events this year. We're hosting 8 to 10 workshops throughout the country, and Atlanta's on a list. So I'll keep you posted on that. Maybe we can meet up in person at one of those events or something, man.
Yeah. I'm putting together some situations with whether it's RoofCon or SVG. I'm starting to, since we're able to kind of do and make some stuff happen, I can pull some teams and compile them. And I'll be a pretty big group. 30, 40 people coming from our total company, you know? So we're going to put some stuff like that together where we can get to these events and just continued education. That's all it is. Like, and I hope to be one day at these events, like able to train or teach or say something, you know, just to share type of insight.
No doubt. Awesome. Man, I love it. Thank you so much for pouring into our audience. I'm sure people are getting a lot of value out of this. Daily discipline is where it's at. And make sure you go take action on that, guys. All right, there you have it, guys. No excuses. He spelled out the formula for getting whatever it is that you want, especially in sales, especially running a roofing company. So again, back to the beginning, my challenge to you, we went through a lot. We went through health and fitness, went through drinking water, went through being clean cut to present yourselves to your homeowners and to your clientele. We went through marketing content and things like that. Take one thing from this episode and take action on it today. Because you might be excited, you might be jazzed up right now. I'm excited about my conversation with AG. That's the first time that he and I had ever talked. You know, we become friends in the DMs, and then that was the first conversation we ever had. I'm juiced up, right? But that doesn't do anything. Nothing happens unless we execute. So go execute on just one thing today and change your trajectory. That's my challenge to you. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Feel free to share it out, drop a comment, subscribe, make sure we get the word out, because more people need to be dialed in to their daily and weekly habits in order to achieve their big goals and have an impact on society. Talk to you soon.